welcome to Envision Together, going to our next level of best. And I am so pleased and excited to present to you Benjamin Brown, who is with us today. He's going to talk to us about sales like few of us have heard before. I'm excited because he makes a connection between a person, who you are, as related to sales. And I'd like his take on it. And so we're all going to hear more about it today. So, Benjamin, tell us more. Who are you?
Well, where would you like to start? It's a good day. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, if you want to start off like that, the main thing I start off with people to educate them is what is the purpose of a sale? We start there.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little biographical information before we jump into that part?
Oh, who I am? Oh, that's not important. No, it is really. I'm Benjamin Brown. I am the owner of 360 Sales Consulting, master of sales. Still learning as progression goes. Nobody totally gets it. I've been in sales for over 26 years on various aspects of it, from management to a rep to building companies. So now my platform is working with people mindset to get prepared for sales, getting them because 80% of sales is confidence. Working with the mindset physically, getting people prepared for the rejection that they normally have to have, and then teaching them the actual skills and steps to be successful, no matter what the product or service is having a actual process for people to follow. And that way you could be totally successful and know exactly engage where you're at in your performance. Because sales is a performance and it is a skill. So you just don't get it like that. You have to work at it.
So let me ask you this. Great
Mhm.
introduction, but obviously I want to know more. Tell us what led you to discover how to be an excellent salesperson.
Well, the main thing that I understand is that sales is a language. And if you understand that, if you know that language, your life becomes better. You can go to J.C. Penney's and you'll see $900 for a fridge, but if you know sales, you know that you can get it less $900. If you have children, you know that they're selling you all the time, and you understand that's a sale, and you understand how to alleviate that to make your life easier. So you'll see sales everywhere in your life, even relationships is a sale, right? So what are the steps to make my life easy? If you don't understand that language, what they always say is that if two people are talking, one is selling, one is buying. If you don't know who's selling, guess who's buying?
Wow. See, now that is just obvious to you because you live in the world of sales, but
Right.
I have never heard it explained in that way.
Mhm.
Talking about even relationships, but I actually can go with you there. I can see that.
Mhm.
Even when you brought up children, I'm like, oh my God, they're like selling all the time.
They're closers.
They are
They don't.
closers.
So they're
Okay.
using part of the. I have 10 steps in my process. They're using step number 9, which is closing. They don't know. We're all born to sell.
Mm.
If I took everything away, the books in the back, everything that you basically have, and put you on the street, by probably by tomorrow, you will start turning into a salesperson. You will start learning, and you will start using your intent. And that's why I said the 4 best people in the United States, one of them is a homeless person, is because they're focused on one thing, either food, alcohol, something that they need. They don't care about anything else. And that's why they're great at sales, and they're willing to take rejection. They don't care what they look like, what people are feedbacking, and they're one of the best in the country. And so that's why a lot of people are born sales. We lose it. It's because we live in a Western civilization where we are taught that you have to earn educationally what you want. So if you can't afford it, you don't buy it. You don't ask for it.
That is so funny because I have heard of stories of homeless people who bring in, it seems like they bring in more money than those of us who are working.
Okay, let me explain this to you. It'll be funny. All right, because I go through this. All right, so a normal, mentally well homeless person that has a good corner in their town or city, how much do they normally make per day, or they could make per day?
You know, before recent years, I would have said $40.
They make normally between $300 to $700 a day.
Wow.
That's why you don't see them out there. Now that's tax free, right? So here's the concept that you don't understand, and most people don't understand the matrix of selling. So they're out there on the corner. They put a little sign up. They're sitting out there asking for money, right? And they make that amount of money, right? There's mostly, so based on that, when you give them money, what do you get in return, Pamela?
I guess an emotional feeling of good. I
What
helped
do you get in
someone.
your hand? What do you get when you give
Nothing.
them money? Right. So they're selling what?
Nothing.
So what business do you know? They got businesses out there with fax machines. They got a building. They got business cards. They got a website. They got email. They got cell phones. They got all this stuff, and they're not making $700 a day. But this homeless person who don't have all of that, maybe a cell phone, is making that amount of money per day. What is the difference between a small business person and a homeless person?
I mean, a small business person has expenses, overhead, what?
That homeless person is focused. The other business persons worry about their website, what I look like, Instagram, what my family does, my coffee, what time I got to get up, my car payment. They have all of these things that they worry about. That homeless person only is focused on the sale.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do that tax free. So the difference between a homeless person and a small business is that homeless person kicking your butt is because they're focused. That's one of the parts of sale. If you're focused, you could be successful at sales. Most people are not focused.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Very good. Now, was there, I still want to hear a little more of your story of what brought you to understand all of this stuff. So, what were some of your pain points in life that made you say, okay, I'm gonna have to do this differently, figure this out, or this is not going well? Because I want you to talk to those of us who don't know what you're talking about on the level that you know and help walk us over to where you are.
One of the biggest sales that you have to make is selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many times in life you'll believe in other people and other things that will actually test that and take it away from you. Hence, like when I went through a divorce, I was a whole different person is because I had to change back into selling myself. The reason I'm still here. Some people don't make through it. They can't get through that, right? Because it's a lot of giving yourself when you go through that type of deal. When you're in that type of relationship, especially when it comes to kids, you're involved 100% and focused basically on that. When that's taken away from you, you have to realize who you are.
Did it shake your confidence and then therefore
For
affect
years,
your sales?
for years.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think that you think or assume. The first rule I teach people in sales is never assume anything. That
Okay.
gets you way in trouble.
Okay.
So so
But you
assuming that
learned that
everything
through
is
your
going
experience.
well, huh?
You learned that through your experiences.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's why when I work with people now, I work on the mindset, make the mindset tough, and then put the skill on top of it. And that way you become a really good salesperson,
Okay.
right? Or just if I went out there and just taught you how to do something and didn't teach you why you need to do it, you would do it, but you wouldn't do it well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So since you brought up the mindset, it's a perfect way to segue into my next question, which is please share some of the core principles of what you teach about sales. Like I know you deal with mindset. You also told me about provide, protect, pick. Unpack some of those things for us.
Well, when it comes to sales, there's normally once I get everything done, there's a 10-step process that you go through. Every sale is 10 steps, but not every sales of product needs those 10 steps.
Mm.
So once I teach you the 10 steps, but first of all, let me back up. The mindset is soul, body, mind, and soul, right? So your body is a direct reflection. Your mind controls the body, but do you have the soul in the mind? And that will give you the whole because you have to go through a change in yourself to be a good salesperson. I used to teach people, and I was like, why they can't get it? They just can't get it. You just can't. I'm teaching them what they need to do. And I had to evolve based upon that and figure out what the problem was. The problem was the soul and the mind. So they was willing to do what I told them to do, but they just couldn't get it. Is because most of the time I had to figure out why people was not selling, right? And that normally meant something in the past, something that hindered them, something that within themselves that didn't have, because remember I said 80% of sales is what?
Confidence.
Confidence.
Oh,
So a
you
lot of people are
quizzing me
not
now.
confident. Huh?
I said, oh, you're quizzing me now.
Yeah,
I
I'm
had a
always
moment when
teaching.
I was like, what is
But you remember, don't you?
I remember, but I did feel like, oh my God, I got to come up with the goods.
So when you're doing sales, you have to remember these certain things while you're having a conversation. Here's a golden nugget. A good salesperson does three things at the same time. They know exactly where they're going,
Mm-hmm.
exactly where they're going, a program, a path, whatever you want to call it. They have to be confident, right? Because the other person is going to feel it if they're not confident. When you go up and we're dating, and I come up to you and I go, Pamela, you look so good. You'd be like, man, get the foot. You know what I'm saying? Even though I knew the wording, I didn't say it right, right? I didn't sound confident enough, right? So you don't believe in what I'm saying. So number one is you got to
But
know
I'd
where
like
you're
to
going.
think I wouldn't be that mean.
Oh, well, you're one of the few. It's a rough game out there. People not realistic. So number one is that you got to know where you're going. Number two, you have to be confident. And number three, you have to listen. People don't listen anymore. And when you're in a sales process, people are telling you things. And if you're so focused on where you're going or trying to keep your confidence going, you will not listen and bypass these things. And that's why people say, what girls say or women say, he doesn't communicate, he doesn't listen, right? So the main thing is you have to understand that and do all three. So when you're in a sales process, like me and you are in sales, and I'm on the phone with you right now, I can't be right here talking to you. I really have to be up here looking down on both of us,
Hmm.
under, grading myself as I'm doing it. Like, am I my tone's too good? Did she understand what I just said? All of this is going on in my head at the same time while I'm listening to you. So
Hmm.
you have to be multitasking to be a
You're
good
kind of stepping
salesperson.
outside of the situation and almost looking at it like, I don't know, we're actors and you're the director. Another
Because
part of you is the director.
your script is a step, so you know where you're going. You know what you're asking. You already, and if you don't know that, when you get the and ahs, when I talk to people, that has to alleviate. Can't have any of that. So you have to understand that. So you have to build that towards a person. And once you get that, I call them top dogs, like top sales dogs. Like they, that's why they say people are born to sell. No, they're built. They're built.
Okay. So you're saying it's not just you were born with the gift. Do you think it's possible to be born with a sales gift?
Michael Jordan was born with amazing athletic ability and skill. Baseball, he's done everything, basketball, right? But what did he do? What did him and Kobe Bryant that made them special? They practiced,
Mm-hmm.
right? They had the gift,
Right.
right? They could run fast. They can, do all these different things with their body most people couldn't do. They could jump high, but the repetitions in the gym, the shots
Right.
over and over, every position. So when it happened in the game, they didn't have to think about it. It became second nature.
Yeah.
So a salesperson can be a people person, what you call it, right? He a people person. He could sell anything. Yeah, but does he know the steps? Has he practiced the steps? So when you throw something at me that I'm not used to, do I flinch?
Mm-hmm.
If I flinch, I lose. I lose my confidence. You don't believe in me. You don't buy my product,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Wow.
So these things have to come into play that you're doing. You're constantly evaluating yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your hardest critic is yourself.
So you're saying that you can have the natural gift, but you have to practice like with anything. Okay.
Right.
And then there's some people who may not have the natural gift, but they can
Mhm.
develop the skill
I
by
take
practice.
people ask me, would you rather have somebody who talks the gift of gab or somebody who's introverted and just listens? I'll take the person that's introverted and listen and run circles around that other person because that other person's his confidence is not gonna listen to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not gonna follow the steps. I
Makes
think I know better, right? My confidence level's so high, I don't have to listen to nobody, right? You had that child that you can't tell nothing to. You're like, well, life is just gonna have to figure it out.
Well, you said something very important that I don't want us to not spend enough time with because, like I said, I've never heard anyone piece these two together. And even in my intro,
Mhm.
letting everybody know what to expect from this conversation, I mentioned how you deal with the person. So you touched on the fact that people can have childhood trauma or things that's getting in the way uh, of their confidence. How do you? I've never thought of a sales coach that part of the steps would be dealing with my past hurts to
Mhm.
help me move forward to even shine as a salesperson.
Mhm.
So, kind of help me tell us more about that.
So some of the students that I work with, I go back into their past to figure out their pain points. They didn't get enough attention. Somebody did something to them in the 12th grade. I'm not a psychologist by any means, even though I took a book and I have my bachelor's degree. But being able to be empathetic towards people depending on what they do, why you're not selling, why you're not confident, what happened,
Mm,
right? And by even going back into that and using that as a catalyst motivates them to get the confidence that they need to learn sales and be understanding that, hey, I can mess up because it's a performance,
mhm,
right? When salespeople pull in the parking lot at the company, they're a different mindset. A IT person, HR, accounting, they go in and just do their job. A salesperson has to perform or they can't go into that building
mhm.
or they might be asked to leave,
Yeah.
right? We don't have the I say Christmas parties, you can always tell the salespeople because they're backed by the bar.
Mhm.
They're a whole different breed. They whether they're introverted or not, they understand that they have to communicate with people, and that's the way it's always been.
Mhm.
So once I'm able to build that confidence of in nothing that can stop you, I can Pamela, I could train you. We could be selling refrigerators on Friday, and then on Monday we could be selling Lear jets, and you wouldn't miss a beat.
Hmm.
Wouldn't miss a beat. You'll be like, just tell me about the jet, tell me the ins and outs, what it is, and then rocking and rolling. I have actually did that one time. I sold a jet on a bet um, for someone, and went learned about the jet one day, went back the next day. Guy had a bet you could sell this jet, and I was like, I sell a jet. They were like, you can't sell a jet. I'm like, it's the same thing in my mind. It's the same thing. I'm just putting a product or service in my presentation, right? Doesn't matter what it is because most CEOs ask me, I don't know if you can help us. I'm like, I don't care what your product is. I really don't care.
Mhm.
It's the process. The process will set you free.
Wow. So, um, that's very interesting. But let's also talk about. So I see that a salesperson. First of all, let me say I've never thought about sales in the this whole time listening to you. I'm thinking about acting. Like I have some
Mhm.
background with acting and studying acting, writing fiction and plays, and I'm hearing a lot from you, similar strategies, if you will, or methods. And so that's interesting to me. But at the same time, as we think about how we have to deal with the emotional aspect of a salesperson, I can't help but wonder. Um, I'm tossing it back and forth. So our customers also have emotional things going on.
Mhm.
And does a salesperson use, if you will, if you see a person's deficit in order to make the sale?
It's not deficit. It's called an emotional trigger. Step number 4. So people buy emotionally, whether it's corporations or individuals or houses, they buy based upon something they want or need. So people buy based upon what they want. So they think they need it, but they buy when they want it. So the main thing in emotional trigger is figuring out why do they want it. That's the motivation and being able to dig down deeper and ask the difference between a good and a great salesperson is the number of questions that you ask. Most people are not asking enough questions. So I say, you want to buy a car, Pamela. What color car are you thinking about want to buy? Why would you want to buy it? What's the purpose of it? Now, then I ask all of these questions and I ask, so if you're able to change that and I'm able to give you a new car that can handle all this, how is it going to make you feel? People buy based upon what they feel. So if I figure out you want to buy the car because you're tired of your old car and I'm going to feel like on top of the world. I'm selling you for $40,000 the feeling of being on top of the world. I'm not care about the car. That's what you want,
What
right?
if in the conversation you learn that I am dealing with an emotional trigger? Like, I don't know, I just got divorced, and to make myself feel better, I want this car. Does that matter from the
No,
salesperson?
because because I'm asking you questions. So when I come to close and I ask you, you know, are you ready to move forward? You tell me you got to think about it. And I said, you don't have to think about it because you told me you want the car because it's going to make you feel that way, right? Right? That's what you told me. So I don't assume anything. Remember, I go back to the rules. I didn't assume. I asked you. So if you come back and you tell me that's not true, then who buyers are liars, right? So I'm gonna check you on that, right? And I can check you on that. You told me that, right? So what are we doing? Right? I can go many different ways when I come to that because all I'm doing is like a lawyer. I'm building a case. And at the
I
end of the
know
case,
you can get a little aggressive, I see.
yeah, because I'm asking you the questions. I'm asking you pertinent questions. The main reason I do my sales process is because I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about my time. Are you qualified for me to have a product that can solve your problem? And I'm trying to figure out right up front in the beginning, am I wasting my time with you? Because my job is to facilitate this product as much as if I have the cure for cancer and I said, do you want a cure for cancer? Well, I got to think about it. Move on. I don't have this kind of time. I know a ton of other people want it, right?
Okay.
So the main thing is that I'm qualifying you for my product. I'm not trying to sell it to you.
So you don't care why I want it. You just want to hear that I want it.
No, it's more intricate than that. I didn't say that. I said, I want to know why you want it, emotional reason why you want it, not just because you want it, right? And if I can understand that in a deeper matter that we agree on. So the main thing, step number five is set up the presentation, right? So in that step, I go, so from what you're telling me is, if I can provide you the solution that you wanted, and I can throw a price in there, we're talking around $2,000. Is there anything holding us back from moving forward with this today? I'm not saying next week. Words matter. Today, if you say, oh, I don't know, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not moving forward in my process. I need an agreement before I move on because I have 5 more steps to go. And I'm not going to assume that my presentation is going to sell you like most people. They run to the presentation. The presentation will sell it. No, I'm going to front load it. So when I get to the close, my chances of closing you doesn't like 20%, it goes to 80%. Right? So over the years, I figured out in the sales which one works to save time in the presentation. I don't want you have to earn the right to do a presentation. So I said, if I could provide you the solution for that, we're doing refrigerators. You come up, I sit down and talk with you. You tell me about this. You tell me about your price range. You're telling me why you want the fridge. Your fridge is on the fritz, this and that. The warranty's up. Sometimes it gets cold, sometimes it doesn't. And I asked you, Pamela, honestly, before we even go take a look at the fridges, if I can provide you the fridge that you want for the price that you want, is there anything holding us back from doing business today? Long as I know you're the decision maker. And you tell me no, time to go. It's time to start looking at fridges. I'm not going to come up, hey, how you doing? Let me show you these fridges. See the difference? So most people don't understand that. It's a numbers game, but I'm saving myself oodles of time because the ultimate goal in step number 10 is that I want to get not the sale, but in my book, the game-changing sales process for getting more clients and referrals. If I get referrals, I don't need to sell as hard. So every time I pitch, whether you buy or not, I'm trying to get a referral. I've worked in this industry long enough where did a pitch, don't worry about that, worked with individuals and they didn't buy, but then I still asked for referrals because my sales process is so smooth. It's not aggressive. They gave me 2 referrals. I sold the 2 referrals. So I didn't get the person, but I got 2 additional sales without any money, any activity whatsoever, just because my goal is to get referrals, not to save. Make sense?
Yes. Very good. Very good. So I guess since sales is so emotionally related, whether it's the salesperson or the person buying. Is that why they have that thing, buyer's remorse, or a window for people to change their
You're,
mind?
you're still going all the way around. You're still trying to figure it out. You're still trying to figure out in short matter. Here's the concept that I tell people, and this is fact. Sales is simple, but it's not easy. Right? It's way simpler than what you're trying to relate to, but it's not easy. You have to understand that. That's why when I work with individuals, when I start working with them, I said, and normally I got it tested down to the T. Normally between 30 to 45 days of me going over everything that I'm telling you over and over again, a button, a light will go off in your head at that point, and you'll be like, now I got it. Now I understand what you've been trying to tell me, because it's a trust factor between tutor and teacher, right? Teacher and student. So everyone I work with, and then they go, now I understand. I'm like, now it's like an orgasm, because now I've been trying to put this in your head. I have to take out all the things that you thought you knew.
Preconceived.
Put it in, and then you realize, wait, it's way more simpler than I thought, because the matrix has told you all of this thing, and it's not. I asked you the question earlier, what is the purpose of a sale? Can you answer that question for me? I'll give you 2 chances. What is the purpose of a sale?
To meet the needs that someone has.
Try again.
The purpose of a sale. To close a deal? I don't know.
Okay. And you do sales every day. You got books, you got seminars, you go to school, you're in sales all day, and most people don't know what a sale is. Don't know. So you're just doing it from the road. The purpose of a sale is to get somebody to move. What do I mean by that? When you go on a website, click on this, put your email here, submit to this, call that, look at the billboard, call this number. Let me ask this question. Can you tell me this? You ask your child, where have you been? Why did you do that? All of these are little baby steps in a sales process that you use on a regular basis. You now understand that process, and then you put words behind it and ask more detailed questions. That's why lawyers are more detailed, because they know the questions that they're asking, right? They're in a sales process to close a case. So the same thing, we're all doing it on a regular basis. Most people are not conscious of it.
Okay.
So the purpose of a sale is to get somebody to move. So by me and you having just a conversation talking about our lives, that's a conversation. A sales process is I come in and I say, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you thought about buying a car? That's getting you to think and move in the ways that I want you to do, whether I want to do that. What are you doing on Saturday? Would you like to come over and help me move? That's another sale.
Okay.
When are you coming to church? You should come to church. People haven't seen you in a while. There's a family reunion. Are you coming? All of these are sales, right?
It is. I also, so it's getting someone to move, but I also do like to think of it in the sense of meeting a need that someone has too.
Don't think about it too detailed. Keep it simple, still.
Okay.
Getting somebody to move. A child will ask you, pick me up, 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 pick me up. They're not asking you why you want to do it and all this kind of crazy stuff. They're closing you to get you to move, to do something, right? I want that. Can you buy that? Can you buy that? Can you buy that? So what happens in modern civilizations, we ask people to stop doing that because it's rude. Right?
No, but it goes back to the homeless person. It's no shame in their game. They're like, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna close the deal, I'm gonna make the sale, I'm gonna get people to move. Okay.
They don't care. When you go over, you've been overseas, you traveled, right?
Yeah.
Right? You've been to third world countries?
Yes.
Okay, you've been to the markets where people beg you to buy things on a regular. How do you feel?
I feel a little overwhelmed, actually.
Right, because you came from a Western civilization where we're taught if you don't have the money, you don't ask for it. Right? So in those countries, we have been trained, we're in a first world country, back in those countries, it's the way life is. You ask for everything you want, you negotiate. So that's why when I go overseas and I go to Dunn's River Fall and we get toward the end and we go out there and all the Jamaicans are with the wood asking you to buy, and you see the white people like cringe, and I laugh because they never had that pressure before. The only thing that we negotiate in our lives, if we're convenient, never leave the States, is a house and a car. We go to
Okay.
school, we earn the money. We don't
Right.
ask for it. We don't negotiate. You shouldn't negotiate. You ask your children, stop negotiating with me. Stop.
Yeah.
So we've been born to sell. So we tell each other to stop doing it during adolescence. We go through school, we go to
Mhm.
college, we get our master's degree, we start our own business. And guess what your first thing you got to do in business?
Unlearn all that stuff.
You got to ask. And you
Oh,
haven't asked
and
since you was a child.
I
So
see.
you've been at your muscle has been atrophied.
Hmm.
So that's why when you go overseas, you see the children in the street selling fishing poles. You like feel so bad for them. That's life. That's the way life's supposed to
I
be.
see.
We're privileged.
Yeah.
So
So,
if you could sell in this civilization, you're in an advantage because you're like everybody else in a third world country. You're selling. You understand that you have to sell in order to make it.
right.
What we do in society, go get a degree. Get a degree, go get a job. The
Mhm.
job will give you everything that you want. You don't need to ask for anything. You get the right job, and then you only have to ask every couple of years for a raise, and that's all you need to do. And you get your 401k, and that's it. You don't ask.
Right.
You're just working, right? You're not asking. So, but if you live in those countries, you don't have that structure. You got to ask. You got to hustle, right? New
Absolutely.
York. So we lost our
Okay.
hustle.
Okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
So, it's been a great conversation. We are coming to the end of it, but before we get there, I do have one question that I ask all my guests, which is if everybody forgets everything we talked about today, what's the one thing you say, hold on to this one? One gem they have to hold on to.
My motto is always get out of your own way and move.
Get out of your own way and move. Okay, very good. And this is the point when I'm going to ask you to share whatever you would like to share with my guests about how they can get in touch with you, get your book, get your coaching, anything you want to
Mhm.
share along those lines, do it. Please hold that gorgeous book up again, and we will share it too when it airs. Your book
No
cover.
problem.
Um,
So the book is Master the Art of Closing the Sale by Benjamin Brown. It's on Amazon, also on the website. So this is I've started this couple, and this is the guide. It's very thin, right? Simple. Keep it simple, right? And so I 360 Sales Consulting is the website you can go to, but I made it easier for people because keep it simple, stupid. Meetwithbenjamin.com, and you can go there and schedule a call and get into a session to figure out basically, same thing we do if I can help, right? That's what it's all about. And so my program is based on 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on with a mindset. And I also have a fitness training on top of that because you have to get your mind moving in order to do this, to get the stuff going. And so most of the people that I work with generate normally between 20 to 60%, depending on their product or service more. And I don't work with you unless I see that because your new prospects pay for me, you don't.
mm, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, with that, I got to tell you, it's been a complete delight talking to you, Benjamin Brown, about sales and about how it's related to even, I guess, our person, unpacking these things in that way. And I think we've shared a lot of things that'll be beneficial to people. And I think we've also planted enough seeds that they'll want to hear more from you and get your book. So it's my hope that that's exactly what people will want to do after listening to this conversation. So it's been such an honor to have you on, and thanks so much.
Thank you. And if you like it, love it, sell it.
If you like it, love it, sell it. You have all these nice little phrases. Thank you.
You're welcome.